Hi, I'm Evan Pantazi. Welcome to another podcast on Kyusho. This time we're going to handle a particular question that comes up all the time, and that's energy transfer. How do you transfer energy? Okay, and so many people think it's a mystical, magical thing that we're doing with chi or ki or whatever you want to call it, but it really isn't. What it is it's just easing up. Okay, in karate, we train to deliver maximum power, maximum speed, effort, power, and that takes a lot. Now, Muhammad Ali had a different way of thinking. He had a saying, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and that's why we have him pictured here on the blog. He was not into heavy power as much as stinging the person with short, sharp shocks, and he did very well at it. Very agile, very loose in his delivery, more loose than virtually any other fighter that he was compared with. There are a few nowadays that are very loose in their delivery and their actions, but he was nice and relaxed with this. Now, why would you want to ease up? Well, the power that you need for Kyusho is a penetrating power. It's not a full body power. All right, and what we're doing is when you deliver a full body punch, okay, or a maximum karate punch, you're going to have to plant your feet first, and you sink the weight, and that takes your muscle strength. And when your brain is sending energy down to your legs, there's less for your delivery into the opponent. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, you shift it and you transfer it, but now, hang on and just bear with me for a while. Now, as your leg pushes off the ground, it feeds into the hips. Okay, sorry about that. It feeds into the hips. And once it feeds into the hips, that energy that's coming in a linear fashion or a springing action off the floor is diverted into a rotational energy at the hip. Now, that builds the power, but what it does first is it slows that momentum, and it's more muscles in your body that are needed to get into that action. And then the torso follows the hips, so the rotational bit isn't as big a deal as the contraction of the body muscles. Now, before I get into this a little bit more, we're going to watch this great video by Chuck Johnson. I put a link on this blog, so go on over to his YouTube, and this was borrowed off his YouTube to really describe this action. Now, as I click on for a second, watch this. Okay, cut down the music just a little bit. Now, you see that rotation there. Let's go back and take a look at that. Look at that body weighting, okay, the shift. Okay, now his body is tightening on one side, delivering at the other side. Now, before we go on to what happens with the arms, so once your torso follows the hip, the torso muscles contract on one side, pulling as the other ones relax to shift off the hip. Now, that constriction also cuts down on the amount of energy that you can put into it, or the amount of transitional energy that's going to go into your opponent. You're just fighting yourself with your antagonistic muscles. Now, as the arm extends, the tricep pulls first, and that contracts, and then the deltoid. Now, we're going to get into this a little bit more. Okay, let's go back. Wait a minute, because I slowed this film down, and you can watch this over and over again, give the guy the views, which is great. But you see how he waits, and he sinks into it. He winds up. Okay, now there's muscle tension right in his leg. Okay, after that, he's going to shift it into his hips. It's going to shift into his torso muscles right up and through here. Okay, so all this energy is going this way. Okay, now he's beginning to bring up the bicep first, which is a contraction. It fights the tricep, which now has to pull. Okay, it's coming in an arcing position. Okay, and then it straightens out. Okay, let's go back and take a look at that one more time. Okay, you see it coming up. Okay, this hand is going to arc up. And it's arcing, and then it stops right about here and then changes directions to go right in. Now you see that directional change. Now it gets linear. Now watch his hand on impact. Okay, you're going to start to see something really remarkable. You're throwing the energy into the opponent, but where does it go? It shifts into your wrist and upward. Okay, in this particular punch anyway. All right, still breaks the board, but guys, the board on the front took the hit. The rest of the energy, the kinetic energy, came from the front board traveling through those backboards. It wasn't the guy's fist or Mr. Johnson's fist. Again, all kudos to him. He did a great job on that, and it's an excellent video. It's cool to watch. But watching that slow motion of his hand, okay, let's go and watch this hand. Okay, see how that shock goes right into the wrist here. So the energy is not going directly into the target with the right trajectory that you need. Now, I've written articles on that trajectory and a bunch of other things. Let's pause this for now. So all that takes off of where you're sending that message on a nerve. Okay, again, go and watch that from him. Now, your feet should be kept in motion, and you don't want to plant when you're delivering a Kyusho strike. You just want to keep nice and loose and relaxed, because again, if you wait and you ground, you're going to have a little bit of a tough time getting that energy back up. Okay, you keep the body relaxed and loose, like Muhammad Ali, like I mentioned before. As the arm extends, you just let the arm reach out toward the target. There's no speed or power on that. Now, if you're not making tight muscles like it tighten your fist or tighten your body, your arm is going to have a lot more relaxed speed. Now, once you get there, what you need to do is, instead of putting the rotation, let's go back to this punch for a second. Instead of getting the rotation around the hips or the torso, okay, let's play it, okay, or getting this arcing rotation going this way, and then getting a linear motion in, what you do when you punch relax is you have a linear motion going in, and then there's a rotation at the last second. Now, how do we get that rotation at the last second? Okay, you got to look at the 6G hands. The 6G hands are called the 6 wind hands or the 6 energy hands, whatever you want to call it. They use torquing power. Okay, once they impacted, just a short trajectory or a short sharp twist on target was what sent a very powerful energy spike into the body, using torque as the power generation, not a punch, not a whole body action. And the trajectory is learning the way the structures, like the nerve structures or the vascular tissue in the body lie, even muscle structures and tendons. The way to attack that properly, to send the maximum amount of energy to the brain. That's what's going to get you that Kyusho working. That's the transitional energy, or that people ask me about all the time. Or what about this energy transfer? And that's what it is. You have to be loose. You can't hit with power. If you hit with power, you're not going to really get the Kyusho. Let's take another look at here for a second too. Let's go back to this impact on this board. This is what happens whether you're hitting a board, or you're hitting a heavy bag, or whether you're hitting a person. Once your hand impacts with all that body weight and momentum coming behind it, okay, the arm jams in back of the hand, which is what bends that up, okay, and then that trajectory goes up here or down here. You're just hitting the surface. Again, the boards break because that first board took the shock, but then it dissipated quickly, and the energy of the boards broke the other boards. So that's why you want to ease up, and you want to concentrate on the actions of the 6G hands not so much on the body power, and that's where a lot of karateka in particular have trouble. And this is especially for hard style, because you're learning how to hit with your whole body as opposed to just your hand delivery and your energetic delivery, or energetic transfer as people like to call it. So once again, this is a film to go with this blog. I suggest you read the blog, really work with it. This year and all the seminars that I'm working on, the courses here this year, what I'm doing is we're taking these trips here, and we're going to teach this quite well, along with the tactical approach, which is much different than what you've ever seen in the Kyusho. So I'll be in Geneva, Switzerland, Salzburg, Austria, Clermont-Ferrand, France, Czech Republic, Buenos Aires, and there's many more opportunities along with the red, which you see is the U.S. Opportunities as well. So I welcome you to come and experience this energy transfer, this tactical approach on any of those courses. Just go to www.kyusho.com, go to the courses right here up at the top, and on your way you go. So thanks for watching.